During this period, the church went from being poor beggars, living in squalor, running for their lives, hiding in catacombs, to living in palaces, attending mass in extremely large, extravagant, pagan cathedrals. Folks, there were no cathedrals. Go read the book of Acts. The church met in houses. Those houses, the largest of them, even the most rich among the believers, could only house anywhere from 20, at maximum 40 people. You didn't have these mega churches. Where did that come from? It started off in Rome. The true church was now far from her true roots, as given to us in Acts, where the assembly went from house to house, fellowshipping with one another. Remember, in those days, even the wealthiest among them didn't have a house that could host more than 50 people. The church also inherited an army. The church, an army? Yes. Yes. The Bishop of Rome, the Pontifex Maximus, the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church had an army. What in the world do the Church of Jesus Christ need with an army? When the head of the church, the Lord God himself, when he was in human flesh, told Rome, if this was my world and my kingdom, then my servants would fight. But because it's not my world and it's not my kingdom, they don't need to fight. The Roman Catholic Church did just the opposite. The Roman Catholic Church had an army. Where did they get it from? They got it from Rome. The Bishop of Rome essentially became the ruler of Rome. Yes, you read that correctly. The church inherited an army whereby they forced people. Did you hear what I just said? The church, the false church, the Roman Catholic Church, led by the Pontifex Maximus, the Babylonian priest, and the Babylonian priesthood, forced people to become Christians or die. And they murdered. They flat out murdered. The church went around murdering people. Come on, people. Hey, you need to go read a history book. A true history book. Yes, the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, went around murdering thousands and thousands of people to make them convert to Christianity. All of them who would not convert. Folks, you ought to go look at the atrocities that the Roman Catholic Church did. For all my Catholic friends who just pick yourselves up off the floor, because I told you about some history you didn't know. And those of you who are probably throwing things at me right now, don't damage your computer or your TV screen. Please allow me to give you another history lesson. The papacy maintained an army, a fighting army, thousands, hundreds of thousands of soldiers for over 1,000 years. Who was their leader? Some king? No, man. The king that they were following was the so-called vicar of Christ, the so-called pope, the so-called head of the church. From early Middle Ages until the unification of Italy in the 1800s. So from the early 400s, when the Pope took over, the Pontifex Maximus, the Babylonian priests took over until the 1800s. That's how long the Roman Catholic Church maintained an army to go around forcing nations to bow the knee to the Pope. Yes, friends, that's what happened. That's history. When the papal states, yes, the Pope led armies against nations and had the nations become states or captives or slaves to the Roman Catholic Church. To Rome? No, not to Rome. Remember, during that time, Italy was divided. Who brought in the unification of Italy? The Roman Catholic Church. And its military were annexed by the Kingdom of Italy. The army evolved from militias and feudal levies to include mercenaries and the famed pontifical Swiss Guard. Go look them up, friends. Go look them up. If you think I'm lying, go ahead. Do it yourself. You'll see that the Swiss Guard were obedient to the Roman Catholic Church, and they were murderers at the behest of the head of the so-called Church of Jesus Christ, serving to defend papal territories and influences. In the early periods of the Middle Ages, the militia and feudal levies, the papacy's first military forces, were often a mix of emergency militias and feudal levies supplied by noble families in Rome and the surrounding countryside. The mercenaries. The papacy also relied on mercenaries, with German soldiers being a notable example in the medieval period. Friend, they were worse than the Nazis. Who? The Roman Catholic Church. Friend, look, the Nazis in Germany had nothing on the popes in the Middle Ages. They murdered people left and right, men, women, children. Then we had the papal states in post-12th century. Cathartic and the expansion. During the 14th and 15th century, the papal states began to employ contrarios, mercenaries who fought for pay. They were paying these people to go around murdering people, to expand their territory. Wait. You mean to tell me the church went around conquering nations and people to expand territory? Yes. That's history, friends. And defend against rivals, most notably during the Italian Wars. The warrior Pope Julius II, go look him up, friend, known as the warrior Pope, was famous for leading his papal army into battle to regain territory for the papal states in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. He was a fighting pope. He didn't sit on the side and command his armies to go anywhere. This man loved to go to war. The head of the church. Oh, the Roman Catholic Church, not the Church of Christ. Then in the 16th through 19th centuries, the Swiss Guard, the most famous of the papal forces, the Swiss Guard was established by Pope Julius II in 1506 to serve as the Pope's personal bodyguard and for security. Go look it up. Varying strength and quality, the size and effectiveness of the papal army fluctuated, often being relatively small but growing significantly during the time of crisis, such as the French Revolutionary Wars. Who did that? The papacy did that. So French supporting the decline of the influence of the Roman Catholic Church. In the 19th century, the papal state's military was often dependent upon foreign powers. Why? Because they were conquerors. And when people get conquered, just like any other army during that time, what happened? People don't like to be slaves, friends. Particularly France, for defense against nationalist movements. The end of it was this: the capture of Rome in 1870. The papal states officially ceased to exist when the Royal Italian Army conquered Rome, ending the temporal power of the Holy See in its military. The Vatican. The modern Vatican City, established in 1929, has no standing army, with the Swiss Guard primarily fulfilling ceremonial and security roles, and the Vatican relying on the Italian state for external defense. That's how Vatican City came about. They left the Pope alone in a treaty between Italy and the Roman Catholic Church as a symbol of respect for the church.